The library was her sanctuary. The towering walls of a folk library resembled the ribs of a slumbering giant, shelves overflowing with books emitting the sacred scent of aged paper and dust. Layla, 30, ran her fingers over the spine of a philosophy book, as usual. Something felt different today. A silence heavier than normal, as if the air had stopped vibrating. Beneath the philosophy shelf, she noticed an ink-black shadow patch, deeper than the others, as though devouring light. She shook her head. Just fatigue. But as she turned to tidy the desk, a sudden chill brushed her neck. She whispered to herself, the AC must be too high. Her footsteps on the wooden floor echoed like hammer blows in the suffocating silence. That night, as she locked the library's heavy wooden door, she heard a clear whisper. Alone, at last. She spun around. The aisles stood empty. Even the crickets had stopped singing. Her phone suddenly screamed with a notification, making her heart leap. A message from her friend Yasmin. Layla, are you okay? Your voice today wasn't yours. The shadow followed her home. In her small apartment, she turned the radio to white noise. She lectured herself aloud. I need to stop reading horror novels before bed. But when she entered the bathroom, she saw a long shadow behind her in the mirror, cast by nothing in the room. She dreamed of drowning in a sea of gleaming black oil. Her hands flailed, screaming soundlessly as thick liquid filled her mouth. Icy hands dragged her deeper. She woke up gasping, mouth open in terrible silence. The clock read 3:33 a.m. She became obsessed with sounds. She bought 3 alarm clocks and scattered them around her apartment. Every 15 minutes, a bell rang to remind her. You can still hear. At work, she noticed the shelf's shadow in the children's section stretching unnaturally long, as if reaching for her. A small child tugged his mother's hand, pointing to the corner. Mama, see that? A black face. The mother laughed. Children's imaginations. But Layla saw the shadow retreat like smoke sucked into the wall. She discovered a book about psychological disorders, lying on the floor. Its cover was distorted, as if held over fire. Inside, pages were stained with black fingerprint-like burns. The chapter on schizophrenia was torn out. She began hearing sounds through her neighbor's wall. A child crying, muffled arguments. But when she pressed her ear against it, silence. She asked her neighbor the next day. Was your child sick last night? The woman stared blankly. I've lived alone here for years. The shadow appeared behind her eyelids every time she blinked. In the library, she heard heavy scraping behind shelves. When she rushed over, no one. But on the floor, a long trail of dust, as if something heavy had been dragged. She bought a small camera for the library. That night, the live feed showed stillness. At 2 a.m., the signal died. She sneaked back to find the camera drenched in sticky black tar. She met psychiatrist Dr. Sammy. He asked, Are you afraid of something specific? She answered, Silence. It feels alive. Unconsciously, she drew a long shadow with white teeth on his notepad. Distorted sounds pursued her outside. Fractured laughter, sourceless screams. In a cafe, she heard clearly. She's weakening. We'll take her soon. No speaker in sight. She found her grandmother's journal in her closet. On the first page. Beware the shadow that disobeys light. It hungers for your silence. Beside it, a sketch of a woman disappearing into a shadow shaped like an open mouth. In the library, the shadow drew closer. She saw it standing between shelves. Tall, gaunt, featureless. Just a black void that induced vertigo. A voice echoed in her mind. You know where I came from. Your parents' silence. Layla was orphaned, raised in crushing silence. She collapsed crying in the storage room. Suddenly, darkness enveloped her. The light bulb shattered. In the corner, a pale face with hollow eyes smiled. She screamed, but her voice muffled as if smothered. She decided to confront it. She closed the library early, sitting in darkness with a flashlight. She shouted, Show yourself. The air turned icy. Whispers swarmed from all directions. We hunger for your silence. 3 shadows detached from the corners. One touched her hand. Bone-deep cold pierced her. Her voice failed again. Only her eyes pleaded. She fled home. The shadow waited. The bathtub brimmed with black liquid from her dreams. On the mirror, steamed words read, Come where you belong. She called Yasmin. I need to come over. The line died. Her TV switched on. Static. Then Layla, asleep in her bed, appeared. With a shadow crouched on her chest. She revisited Dr. Sammy. He prescribed sedatives. On her way back, a child's cry echoed from a dark alley. She followed it. Into a trap, 3 shadows waiting. She ran wildly. Laughter chased her. She found herself at the library. The door stood open despite her locking it. Inside, every book lay overturned, pages torn. She climbed to the roof. The air thickened. Shadows gathered below like black fog. One ascended the stairs toward her. In its hand, a burning book. It ripped out a page, her childhood photo, and flung it at her. The photo showed her at 7, alone in a dark room. The shadow had written below, "You were always our food." She understood. Her neglectful parents' silence birthed this entity. She resolved to fight. She gathered the library's antique bells. Tying them to a string, she screamed, "Love silence. I'll deafen you." She shook the string violently. Deafening clangor filled the space. The shadows shrank as if in pain. Her voice finally broke free. "Get out of my world." But the main shadow lunged, smothering her face with black mass. She floated in a black void. No sound, no light. Only a whisper piercing her mind. "This is your true home. Surrender." She remembered her grandmother. "Light wins if you refuse fear." In the void, she saw a tiny candle, a memory of Yasmin laughing with her. She ran toward it. The shadow screamed, "No!" She touched the flame, and white light exploded. She woke on the rooftop floor. The shadow was gone, but the library lay in ruins. Charred books, shattered shelves. At its center, a black circle like a scar. Police called it an electrical fire. She knew the truth. Yasmin insisted she stay over. That night, as they slept, 2 small shadows crawled from under Layla's bed. She fled to a distant hotel. In room 303, she opened the bathroom to find the tub filled with black liquid. On the mirror, "No escape. You are ours." She called Dr. Sammy, desperate. He agreed to visit. But when he arrived, his eyes were fully black. He smiled. "The shadow sends its regards." She escaped through the window. Outside, people had no faces. Only their shadows stretched and coiled around her. Her grandmother's voice whispered, "Face it where you were born." She remembered the old orphanage. Al Raja Orphanage stood abandoned. In her childhood room, she found her old doll encircled by salt. A note in her mother's handwriting. "I knew you'd return. Salt will protect you." For a time, the shadow entered. Now human-sized with red eyes, it hissed, "You made me with your silence. I am part of you." She threw salt at it. It shrieked like a wounded animal. But the shadow returned stronger. It seized her throat. She screamed, "I'm not that silent child anymore." She raised the doll and smashed it. Inside, a tiny mirror. Her reflection showed a face veiled in black shadow. Yet her blue eyes refused surrender. She focused all her will. "I am greater than my fear. I have a voice." She screamed with everything she had. The mirror shattered. The shadow shriveled like burning paper. Its dying groan, "No! Impossible!" vanished. But a black droplet seeped into a cut on her hand. She returned to normal life. The library was restored. But she noticed something. People around her grew louder. Loud noises no longer pained her. They energized her. At night, she studied her reflection. Her own shadow sometimes moved. Independently. She smiled at it, whispering, "I know you're there. But this time, I'm in control." She turned off the light, leaving darkness to twist beneath her awareness.